interested in it. I'd want to know everything I could about it. Now, how many of y'all, when it came to the dope, shit that was destroying you and everything around you, you knew everything there was to know about that shit? Where to get it, how to make it, where to get the good shit, the bunk shit. You knew everything about the dope game. So if you're going to do this, you sort of got to get that same energy and effort into something that's going to change your damn life around. Now, what we're going to do today, since we have everybody in here, we're going to get down to some basics. Because I'm a real firm believer that without the basics of this, you can't sort of build anything. You got to lay the firm foundation, and then you got to go from there. Now, basic problem solving. I don't care what the problem is. It could be finances. It could be crack. It could be plumbing. Basic problem solving. You have to know three things. You got to know the problem. You have to know the solution to the problem. And then you got to have a plan of action you can take that'll get you out of the problem into the solution. Now, how many of y'all come in here and you have no idea what your problem is when it comes to you drinking and you drugging? Now, if you show me an alcoholic with a drug and alcohol problem, I will show you somebody who's tried buku solutions to a problem. They have no idea what it is. Now, if you had a car that was broke down and an accountant was trying to tell you how to fix it, would you listen to him? All right. Now, how many of y'all, when it comes to your little drinking and drugging problem, before you got here, you had no idea what the problem really was? Now, have you tried solutions on your little drinking and drugging problem? Huh? You never have. You've never tried to quit? Cut down? Well, I didn't ask you that. I said, have you tried?
Yeah, I tried.
Okay. Who else has tried solutions? What, Michael, what have you tried? Have you did the Nancy Reagan shit? Just say no?
It didn't work.
It don't work, does it? Look, how many of y'all in here, when y'all get to a point where it's becoming sort of unbearable, and you go, I got to do something. See, how many of y'all try to quit altogether? How many of y'all have tried to use different shit? Less shit, more shit. You try all kinds of cockamamie solutions. How many of y'all tried moving? Changing jobs, changing cars, changing relationships. You try everything under the sun to a problem you really don't understand. Now, if you don't understand the problem 100%, any solution you come up with will be wrong. Now, I want you to think about this. Every time you come up with a solution to try to solve your little problem, does it always center around a human being? Either you try to do it on your own, human being, you try to move away from human beings, you try to get in relationships with human beings, you try to work with other human beings. How many of y'all, every solution you ever come up with, it always centers around a human being? And all of yours have failed. Now, this kind of alcoholic I am, the problem that I had when I came in here, no human could solve it. And believe you me, I've been around some good, powerful human beings. I've been prayed over. carved up and dipped more than a fucking Christmas turkey. And none of that shit worked. Now, I want you to think about this. How many of y'all, when you get to a point where it starts to get unbearable for you, yoo-hoo, look up here. They not going to help you out there. Over here. Now, how many of y'all, every time you come up with a solution to try to solve your little problem, at that moment, when you come up with it, do you say, damn, I'm smart. I must be related to Albert Einstein to think of that shit. And when you fall flat on your face, because your solutions never work, when you fall flat on your face, how many of y'all go, how did I ever think that shit would work? Now, have you tried solutions?
Yeah.
What have you tried?
Quitting.
Just quit. Now, did that work?
No.
Have you tried solutions? What have you tried? Just quit. See, everybody's got the Nancy Reagan solution. Just say no. Now, once you understand the problem, you will start to see why none of your solutions have ever worked. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the problem a little bit. We're going to jump into some other things today. Look, how many of y'all, when y'all come in here, and we start talking about some of the same stuff over and over and over and over, y'all go, hey, golly, not again. How many of y'all, when they talked about the dope game over and over and over, did you go, oh, no, not again? Or did you go, hey, what am I going to learn new today? So you got to have that same kind of little energy and effort. That's when I ask somebody, man, do you want some help? And they go, yeah. I go, well, don't get too damn over enthusiastic about it. See, when somebody asks me, hey, man, you want some help? I say, hell yeah. Now, I want you to turn your big books to page XXV and 3 eyes. It's in the front of the book in the doctor's opinion. If I'd have told you to turn to XXIV, you'd already be there. XXV with 3 eyes. The way you're going to know you're there is going to start out with we believe. Now, how many of y'all in here are going to, look, don't raise your hand. Look, watch this shit. Don't raise your hand. How many of y'all in here are going to really try to do this? Okay? If you are, look, if you get nothing else out of today, yoo-hoo, I want you to listen to this. If you're going to do this, you're going to have to try to carry this message to others. You got to work with others because you can't keep it unless you give it away. Look, I just picked up 20 years in this, 20 years sober. I still work with others, not y'all. I still go to meetings. I still have a sponsor. See? And I don't forget where I come from. And one of the reasons I don't forget where I come from is because I work with others. And every time I work with a newcomer, it sort of takes me right back to step one. See, y'all may not really realize this yet, but most of y'all have helped me more than I could possibly help you. Because see, when I see you in here and I see that look in your eye and your face, and I go, oh, man, go back there again. When I see some of y'all like ships at sea without a rudder, just going aimlessly through life, I go, ah, man, I wish I could just give them everything I got. So if you're gonna stay in this, you've got to be able to work with others. Now, let's just say for shits and giggles, you get this. Let's just say that happened, okay? Would you be able to reach some guys that I probably couldn't?
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. When you were growing up, did you have some people that you could, positive people that were having positive effects on your life that you could look up to? No. See, they're gonna have some other little cats out there like you who ain't got nobody positive to look up to. So let's just say you got this. You think you could reach them better than I could?
I think I could. I think my is on that person.
Huh?
You know, if I'm portraying the same message that you portraying, it's on that person.
Yeah. But you think they can relate to you better?
No.
If let's just say they grew up sort of like you.
Yes.
They didn't grow up like me.
All right.
Could they relate to you better? Oh, I think they could. So I think without a doubt they could. So how many of y'all in here, y'all have this unique experience that you think doesn't mean a whole lot? Look, what you've been through and what you've done and what's happened to you, you're the only one that's ever experienced that. Nobody else has. And they got somebody out there who's sort of, kind of been through the same shit you've been through. So a lot of y'all in here are going to be able to touch some people that I probably couldn't get through to as good as you. I can get through to them. There ain't no doubt about that. But maybe just not as good as. Yeah. Now, is everybody on that page? We believe and so suggested. Okay, the very first paragraph down. Look, listen to me. I want y'all to look up here and listen to me. Today's not the day to be staring out the window. Okay? I don't want to stop my class because you can't pay attention. So if I was you, I'd put on the act again like your ass is paying attention, even though you ain't even interested in this. So today's not the day. Okay, we're going to start reading the first paragraph down. It says, we believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy. Now, look up here. How many of y'all come in here and y'all not drinking liquid alcohol? You may be smoking crack or shooting heroin or doing meth, and you say, well, I don't do alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic. Who doesn't drink? Okay. What's your favorite thing?
Heroin.
No, right here.
Oh, meth.
Now, if I dropped you off on a deserted island, and I said, hey, I'm going to be back in 6 months to get you. Here's 6 months worth of food and a case of Jack Daniels.
I really just.
I would bet my house on it you would.
Well, I mean, if I couldn't find water or anything else to drink, then.
I know. That's what I just said.
All right, that was.
How many of y'all in here? You may not drink it because you can get your hands on what you're really looking for. But I guarantee you, left to your own vices in your own skin, if I dropped you off on a deserted island and said, I'll be back in 6 months to get you, 6 months worth of food, and here's a case of Taka Vodka, when I got back, all the food and all that fucking vodka would be gone. And once the vodka was gone, you'd be trying to drink some fucking coconuts or snort the sand. Because when you get irritable, restless, and discontented enough, how many of y'all seek ease and comfort? Now, what's an alcoholic? If somebody said to you, I'm an alcoholic, what does that mean to you? When you hear that,
Like drinking.
okay, he says, I like drinking, which I ain't drinking 20 years. How many of y'all got? Well, an alcoholic is somebody who has a trench coat on. They have a bottle of a brown paper bag with a bottle of Thunderbird in it, and they're falling in and out of the gutters. Now, is that probably an alcoholic? Probably. But that's not how we do it. See how many of y'all go, well, I ain't never had a DWI. He's had 5. I couldn't possibly be alcoholic. Not how you do it. How many of y'all say, well, she's been divorced 5 times. I'm still married. I couldn't possibly be alcoholic. That's not how you do it. Now, it says these chronic alcoholics, they suffer from something called a manifestation of an allergy. Now, how many of y'all sort of like me when I first came in here and they suggested to me I had an allergy to alcohol? I went, the hell I do. I'm drinking about a gallon of that shit a day. Ain't no way I could be allergic to it. Because I only looked at it, an allergy, as something external. Now, about 99% of all allergies, the way they manifest themselves is externally. Is anybody in here allergic to seafood? Who? Okay, what happens when you eat seafood? Okay, when he eats seafood, his throat swells up, right? And you break out in hives. Now, what's the indicator that he's allergic to seafood? What tells him that shit? His throat and the hives. Now, how long you been allergic to seafood? Okay. Well, that was what, last week? Now, when's the last time you ate seafood? Yeah. Now, why is it if he's allergic to seafood, he can put the shit down and never even picks it up, huh? But he has this allergy to dope and he can't leave that shit alone. Now, allergies, most of them manifest themselves externally. How many of y'all say, well, I don't break out in hives and rashes when I smoke crack. I couldn't possibly be allergic. I don't break out in rashes when I drink beer. I couldn't be allergic. Now, the allergy that I have, when I put any form of alcohol, liquid, powder, pill, or rock, into my system, I don't break out on the outside. I break out on the inside. Then I break in some other shit. Now, the allergy that I have, the indicator that tells me I got it. This allergy that I have, every time I put the first one in, that allergy produces a physical craving. And this is what tells me I got that. Just like when he eats seafood, what tells him he has an allergy to seafood is the hives and the rashes. Now, every time you put the first beer in you, do you set that off? And does your body start to physically crave a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one? Okay? Now, what do you do? Favorite thing? Meth. How?
IV.
Okay? When you shoot the first one, do you set that off and do you crave some more? Let me put it to you this way. If you had 10 rigs ready to go,
Mhm.
could you do one today, put 9 of them in the refrigerator and come back next month
No.
and do a second? Leave 8 of them in the refrigerator, go about your business for another month.
I knock out 6 of them.
So every time you dump, you set this off and it produces a craving for another one. What's your favorite thing? How? Okay, if you had 10 lines big as my middle finger, could you do a quarter of a line today? Put the rest of them in the refrigerator, go about your business for a month, come back a month later and do another little quarter. What would happen every time you snorted the first little quarter? Would you set that off? Would it produce that? Now, it don't matter if it's liquid, powder, pill, rock. The alcoholic that I am, every time I put the first one in, my body has this physical allergy, and it sets off a physical craving for more. And the more I do, the more I actually crave. And the more I crave, the more I actually have to do. Now, all old good crackheads, we have a saying that one is too many. I knew you would know that. Now, one's too many because it's going to set off, and 1,000 ain't enough because it'll never satisfy the craving. Now, I drank and drug for about 27 years. How old are you? Now, in 27 years, not one time did I say, boy, I got a fucking enough that night. Not one time. Now, there's some times when I went, damn, I had too much last night. But not one time did I ever say, got enough last night. Because I never could satisfy. Because the more I use, the more my body actually craves. Now, I know none of y'all in here are like that. Now, how many of y'all have said shit like this before? I'm just gonna do 2. I'm just gonna do 4. I'm just gonna spend $50. I got $500 paycheck today. I'm taking 50 of it and I'm going on a tab. And I'm gonna take the other 450 because I got to pay rent this week. And I'm gonna hide it from my fucking self. How many of y'all have ever did some shit like that? Hide your money from yourself. And when you thought about that shit, did you go, man, how come I never thought about that before? Now, sitting here listening to me saying it, how retarded does that sound? I'm gonna hide my money from myself. Now, how many of y'all swear up and down, I'm just gonna do a little bit? And up here, before you start, you were convinced to a man or a woman that that's all you're gonna do. After 50's gone, that's it. Now, once you dump the first one in, now it becomes physical. Now the body takes over. And the body starts telling the mind what to do. And when you get finished with that 50, the rest of the 450 goes like that, and then you trying to find money somewhere else. How many of y'all have ever did this shit? Look, Mom, I'm going to give you this money to hold. No matter what I say, don't give me the shit. I'm telling you now, whatever I say, don't give me the money. Now, the first 50's gone. You beating on Mama's door about 2 in the morning. I want my money. And she goes, but baby, don't fucking baby me. I want my money. And she says, yeah, but you told me not to give it to you. I don't care what I said. I want my damn. Now, how many of y'all have done things like that? How many of y'all, when I said that, started laughing? How many of y'all have done stuff even worse than that? Now, what sets everything in motion? The first one. If I never put the first one in, this actually becomes a moot point. Now, I want you to stay with me right here. What makes me alcoholic? Plain and simple is the allergy. Now, when you put the first one in, you set that off? Guess what you are? Alcoholic. When you put the first one in you, do you set that off? Guess what you are? No, you're an alcoholic. An addict's in between the ceiling and the roof. Look, you can call yourself whatever you want. My favorite things, they were neck and neck. It was crack and Crown Royal. They were just like this. I'm not no damn addict. What I am, plain and simple, is alcoholic. Because anytime I put any form of that shit into my system, this gets set off, this happens, and the end result is this right here. And when I come up off a bad spree, that's when I sing the Alcoholics National Anthem. I will never do that shit again. Now, how many of y'all, this has been your MO ever since you put the first one in? You start, you go through this, you come up off the spree and you quit. You live in your own skin for a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks, and then this thing starts to click for you. It's called an obsession of the mind to use. And when you get irritable, restless, and discombobulated enough, your mind says, hey, you need some damn relief. See, and this is what tells you, I'm just going to do 3 this time, though. See? And every time you reach over and put the first one in, when you put the first one in, this bitch goes on vacation. But now you set off the physical part. The body takes over. The body's now telling the mind what to do, and you have to go get more. Now, how many of y'all have said, I'm just going to quit? I am not doing that shit anymore. I can't. I'm going to lose my kids. I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to lose my job because they're on to me now. And you have all these consequences that are fixing to happen. And you can see it plain as day. Until this thing starts kicking in on you. When that thing starts working on y'all, how many of y'all, when it takes full control, it overrules your freedom? Your job, your kids, your cat, your dog. It overrules everything. Now, I want you to pick up reading where I left off. I want everybody back in the book. Okay? I want everybody following along. Hold on, let everybody get there. Go.
That the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker.
Look up here. Keep your place in your book, but look up here. It says the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate user. They call them normal people, whatever the shit that is. Now, I look at some normal people who don't have this, And they are some pretty sick ass people. Now, how do you know if you got the shit or you don't? He knows he has the seafood allergy by the hives and the throat. The allergy that I have to any form of alcohol is the craving. This tells me I got this. Now, until you die, physically, will you always be allergic to seafood? It's never going to go away. Never. See, this right here, this allergy I have to any form of alcohol never, ever, never, ever goes. It actually gets worse. The older I get, the worse it gets. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all first started using, cravings weren't too bad? So the sprees weren't that bad. But how many of y'all, as the drinking and the drugging progresses and you getting older, how many of y'all, the cravings are getting bad now? They're getting worse. And the sprees are starting to get, that's because the allergy's getting, look, 20 years, I have not put that in. But the whole 20 years I've been sober, this has been getting worse. If I quit doing what I'm supposed to do, if I let enough time go by, guess what's going to come back? Guess what I would do? And if I dumped the first one in today, I wouldn't pick up where I left off 20 years ago. I would pick up like I had been using the whole 20 years. Because the whole 20 years I've been sober, this has been getting worse. Everything I've accumulated in 20 years, I would lose in a matter of probably a month or two. And I got some shit now. If I put the first one in, this would be unbearable today. These would ride me like never before. And this, Baton Rouge, Livingston Parish, Ascension Parish, they better all watch out. Because I'm going to go on a tear. Now, does this ever go away? No. It actually gets worse. What's your first name? What you using? Huh? Okay. How long you been smoking crack? Huh? 2 weeks. Shit, you must have got a. Okay. All right. Perfect. The whole but listen to what I'm going to ask you. The very first time you hit the peace pipe, how long ago was that? I mean, no.
Oh, the first time?
Yeah. How old were you? Okay, so that was a long time ago. How long ago? Huh? Okay, how many years ago was that? Because I don't know how old y'all are. Okay, well, I don't do math good. It's been a while, huh? Now, when you picked back up 2 weeks ago, did it get worse than ever in 2 weeks? Because that whole time you were sober, guess what was getting worse? The allergy. And when you hit that first one, it was like, son of a bitch. You get that old sick feeling in your stomach? Yeah, I know that feeling. Now, how many of y'all in here, y'all think the longer you stay sober, it just goes away? When actually it's the complete opposite. The longer you stay sober, the worse it gets. Now, if I don't have this, if this is gone, this can get as worse as it wants. Because this actually becomes a moot point if I never put the first one in. Now, if you start to understand the obsession and the allergy, you'll start to understand why none of your solutions have ever, never, ever, never, ever worked. Now, how many of y'all have been to treatment once, 4, 5, 22, 18 times? How many of y'all? How many of y'all, this is your first treatment? Whether you've been to treatment a bunch, once, twice, it doesn't matter. But I want you to listen to this. If all you do when you get out of here is go to meetings, guess what you're going to keep up here? Because the meetings are made up of human beings. And human beings cannot remove the obsession. Remember what we started off with? Any solution that centers around a human being is doomed to fail. Now, if you go to the meetings and you do something in the steps, then you got a chance. Now, I want you to keep reading. I want everybody back in the book. Hurry up. Don't get none on you. Go.
These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form.
Okay, look up here. It says these allergic types. Now, how would you know you're an allergic type? How would you know? No, how would you know? Yeah. Okay, that's how you know you're an allergic type. Now it says, and he doesn't have a misprint. It says these allergic types can never. Is that what your book says? Huh? Or does it say after 6 months you can't? What's your book say? Never. Now, hurry up. All right, back up here. Look, y'all need to get to the damn bathroom before y'all come in here. Go ahead. Go out that door. Back up here. Now, how many of y'all, the physical allergy, it's always been getting worse. Now, it says I can never safely use. Now, can you use again? Yeah. The hell you can't. If you keep that, guess what the hell you gonna do? Now, you can use again, you just won't be able to use safely. And safely means one. Look, what? One. Now, how come I can't do just one? Because of the allergy. And I'm just as bad at doing none right now because I got the damn. So if you can't do none because of that, and you can't just do one because of that, you pretty much screwed. And the crazy thing is, you can't even see how screwed you are. That's the crazy thing. I mean, y'all bebop around here like you still got the shit. And you are so screwed, it's pitiful. Now, once I saw exactly where I was at and what I had been doing, I went, I'm screwed. So when somebody sees where they're really at, and somebody goes, hey, but I got a solution for you. You know what somebody like me does? What is it? See, I'm not going to be interested in a solution ever, never, ever, unless I see where I'm really at. Now, I had judges, I had POs, parents, employers, ex-employers ask me, man, why do you keep doing that shit? And I went, fuck, I don't know. I don't know. And that was the truth. I had no more of an idea why I kept doing what I was doing than they did. Now, how many of y'all, hurry up, have kept ending up on these sprees? You keep piling problems on top of problems. And you look up and you got more problems than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. And you go, how the shit did I end up like this? And the truth is, you don't know why. But yet you come up with solutions. It's crazy to watch one of us untreated. Now, once I sort of understood where I was at, then I could start to see something a little different. But most of y'all are stuck right here because you keep trying to solve a problem you don't understand, and you keep staying stuck in the problem. And it keeps getting worse every time. Now, step one says, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Now, if somebody can't stay quit, and once they start, they can't control how much they're going to use, they are. Now, what's your favorite thing? Yeah. Okay. How many times have you said, I'm done, I can't use anymore, and this has got me every time? And every time that you shoot the first one, do you set that off? Does it produce that? Do you end up on one of them? How many times have you said up here, I can't use anymore because of my children? Now, your children are very important to you. Would you agree? Now, when this thing kicks in between your ears, is it sort of like your kids don't exist? Because it overrules your kids and everything and tells you, hey. Now, the first one, is it an act of the mind or the body? Mind. The mind. See, the first one is an act of the mind. And the first one sets off the craving. Now, the second one that I put in, is it an act of the mind or the body? Right. When I dump the second one in, the craving doubles. And when the craving doubles, I have to put the third one in, and so forth and so on. I actually crave more after the 20th one than I did after. Now, what are you writing? What are you writing? Don't do that. Close that up and put your pen up.
I'm writing that.
Not you. Look, I don't want anybody writing right now. I want you to look up here and I want you to listen. You really need to listen. Not you. Yeah. Now, how many of y'all in here? This right here gets you every time. And the reason you keep dumping the first one in is because this obsession got you by the damn yang yang. Now, how many of y'all in here have ever been put on probation? Drug court, whatever it is. How many of y'all ever been on color code? What was your color?
Oh, no, I don't got a color code. I just got to call a number every day.
Well, I bet you hate calling that damn number. How many of y'all been on color code before? What was your color?
What?
I hate you. I bet you hate that damn color. How many of y'all in here? You're on probation. And Friday about 2 o'clock you go, well, them some bitches are gone now. And you start doing the math in your head. And you go, well, let's see. It takes about 72 hours for me to pass a drug test. But if I pee and drink a lot of water, I could probably get it down to 50 hours. So if I start now, I can go at least until tomorrow afternoon. Okay, it's on. So you put the first one in Friday. But what you fail to put into the equation, your math, is that. Because come Saturday afternoon, when you're supposed to not do anymore, your body's physically craving more. So guess what you got to keep doing? And when you come up for air Monday morning, you go, holy shit. God, I hope they don't call my color today, which they've done for the last 30 years. How many of y'all have been in situations where you knew if you used again, you were going to face some serious consequences? You knew it without a shadow of a doubt. And this thing made you believe they would never happen. That's how powerful this is. Now, this is one of them moments. You got to really get this. I don't think anybody comes into this place with me and doesn't get this part. You would have to be almost brain dead not to get this. But what most of y'all is going to go right over y'all's head is this. To see, the obsession will tell you, hey, you ain't got the shit. See, it'll tell you you got some shit that you ain't got, like some real power. And the shit you actually got, it'll tell you you ain't got it. That's how cunning, baffling, and powerful this shit is. Look, when they talk about it being cunning, baffling, and powerful, they're not talking about that. They're talking about that son of a bitch. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. Your freedom. Do you like your freedom? How many times has this jeopardized your freedom?
Every day.
Yeah. How many times? How many times? How many times? Yeah. See, everybody's sitting in here and me standing in here. How many of y'all have ever said some shit like this? That ain't fair. That ain't fair. It's a good damn thing shit ain't fair. Because if shit was fair and I'd got caught for everything I've done, I should be in Angola right now. So it's a good damn thing shit ain't fair. Now, how many of y'all, when that kicks in, it overrules everything? This thing is so powerful that nothing human can touch it. Now, guess what you are? Human. Guess what you have no power over? The obsession. If you did, you wouldn't be sitting in here. Because not one of y'all went, man, I want to go to Woodlake and spend 28 days with Kevin James. Not one of y'all said that. Now, if you could have gotten rid of this on your own, the very first time you said, I quit, guess what you would have got rid of? The obsession. Now, who can tell me what the steps actually do? What? Okay, but who get the power? The steps tap me into power. And that power is what does something for me I never could do for myself, and that's remove that bitch. And it also starts to do other things for me, like give me a personality change, make me a father, a husband, a son, a brother, a good employee, so I think. How many of y'all are so powerless over shit, you don't even know it? Keep reading. Pick up where you let everybody get there. Everybody get back in the same place. Go.
And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break
Look
it.
up here. once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it. Go.
Once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult to solve.
Now, how many of y'all keep piling problems on top of problems on top of problems? And you look up one day and you go, "Fuck it." Somebody that gets to that point has lost all perspective. Go.
Frothy emotional appeal seldom suffices.
Now, how many of y'all have ever been frothily emotionally appealed to? What that means is I've had judges frothily emotionally appeal to me. And this is what they said. If you ever come back in front of me again, you're not going to like it. That's frothy emotional appeal. How many of y'all's kids have ever cried and begged you? Mommy, please. Daddy, please. That's frothy emotional appeal. How many of y'all's mothers, aunts, grandmas have frothy emotionally appealed to you? Guess what frothy emotional appeal won't work on? Go.
Message which can interest and hold these alcoholic people must have depth and weight.
Now, I like to think I got a little depth and weight. A lot more weight than depth sometimes. Now, how many of y'all come in here and y'all go, shit, I ain't worried about him. Yeah, come on. I know how to get past people like him. Now, how many of y'all after about a day or two, y'all go, son of a bitch, I never saw it that way. How many of y'all are starting to see that what we're telling you is nothing but the absolute truth? Look, if I would have come in a place like this and somebody would have been trying to tell me how to change my life and they never spent all their rent and utility money on crack, I wouldn't have listened to nothing they said. How would they possibly know how I feel? See, people like me, Josh, the one y'all watch, Corey, some of the people that work with us, we know how you feel. We've been there. See, and we know some of y'all are so full of shit like we used to be. It's pathetic. We know that. We know some of y'all want to want. And some of y'all are so scared to change because you're worried what everybody's going to think of you ask. And every time somebody asks you something, well, how you doing? Fine, I'm fine. And deep down, your ass is dying. You're dying. And you won't tell nobody. I'm fine. If somebody could look at your insides, would they go, son of a bitch? Would they? Would they? Yeah. I want you to go to the next page. And I want you to pick up reading there. Men and women, go. What?
Actually, at the bottom, the first page.
Oh, well, the bottom, go. Top, bottom, it don't matter, go.
Men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol.
Now, let's say you don't drink. Let's say you're shooting dope. Put drink out, take drink out and put shooting dope. Let's say you're smoking dope. Take drink out and put smoking dope. Let's say you're smoking little green rat turds. Take drink out and put little green rat turds. Whatever you're doing, put it in there. Now, it says we use because we like the effect. Look, how many of y'all have ever said this shit like this? Well, I'm addicted to the game. That is the most earnest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. How many of y'all have ever said, well, I'm addicted to the needle? That's even more bullshit. Because if that was true, all you'd have to do is walk around with a needle in your pocket with nothing in the needle, and just every time you had an obsession, shoot it. Or just put water in the some bitch. Or just carry a crack pipe around with nothing in it but burnt charbroil and keep hitting that shit. Like some of y'all do. How many of y'all in here you use because you like the effect? If it wasn't for the effect, you wouldn't use. Look, how many of y'all have ever went and got some bunk ass dope before? And you hit it, and you went, shit, I'm going to get some more of that. You didn't say that because the effect wasn't what you're used to. Now, how many of y'all have ever got some real good shit? And the effect was, what'd you want?
More.
And now keep that in mind, what I just said. You can go sit in the back there. What's up, man? You done come through a little bit? Now, back up here. If you got some bunked up, would you want more?
No.
If you got the cream de la cream, would you want some more?
Yeah.
Now, if you were like me, and all you do is go to meetings, that's all you do. You getting the bunk shit. And guess what you ain't gonna want no more of after a little while? The meetings. Now, if you go into the meeting and you actually doing the cream de la cream, you getting good shit. And guess what you gonna want? And I can't stress it enough that the mistake I see a lot of y'all make, y'all get out of here, and it just befuddles me that all y'all hear is go to fucking meetings. It's like when we start talking about the steps in the book, you don't hear none of that. I'm telling you, if all you do is go to meetings, you're not gonna get the effect we talking about. Now, it says we use for the effect. How many of y'all in here have ever said that? Man, I like the way Crown Royal on the rocks taste. I like the way a cold beer tastes on a hot day. If you actually think about it, it tastes like shit. Now, how many of y'all love the taste of cold mountain spring water on a hot summer day? Yeah? You ever sit down and drink a whole case of that shit in one sitting? Because you drink that water for the taste. You drink beer, you ever sit down and drink a whole case of beer in one sitting? Because you drink it for the effect. See, I use because I like the effect. Now, stay with me. Unless I replace that effect with something else, I'm gonna go back to it even though it ain't working no more. Now, today, for the last 20 years or so, I got a new effect. It's called, especially these three, 10, 11, and 12. And every time I do those, it's like I get the first hit again. But you know what 10, 11, and 12 don't set off? The allergy and the craving. But I'm going to get the effect one way or the other. Now, after the first one, it's horrible. Now, let's just say for shits and giggles, you were doing the steps like the book said and going to the meeting, would you be getting that effect? Yeah. So if you getting it from that, would you still be thinking about getting it from the other shit?
No.
Now, let's say you're just going to meeting, but you ain't really getting the effect. Are you going to start to get irritable, restless, discontented? And is this thing going to say, hey, I know how you can get some relief? How long have you been dicking around with this? How long? Yeah. Now, every time you go out, how many times have you been through treatment? And every time you do what I just said. Do you go to meetings? Yeah. And does that go for a little while? But do you ever really do this? Never, huh? So you start to get irritable, and this thing goes, gotcha. See, because it kept telling you that whole time you were going to meeting. Well, this time I think the meeting will be in the. And it starts to tell you, hey, nobody will find out. You keep going to those meetings, no fuck, just go on a marijuana maintenance program. Right or wrong. And you put the first one in, this keeps getting worse, these keep getting worse, and you go, fuck those meetings. Now, how many of y'all come in here and y'all think all I got to do when I leave is go to meeting? And I'm telling you, that's not going to work. It absolutely will not work. Keep reading.
The sensation is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious,
Injurious.
they cannot after a time differentiate the true from the false.
How many of y'all, when y'all come in here, y'all don't know the truth from the false? Y'all are so blind, it's pathetic. And when I ask you shit like, do you love your kids? You say what?
Yeah.
And I say, bullshit. And you go, I can't believe that that's me. That's what you did. You got mad as hell, didn't you?
I did.
I know. Your face is turning even redder than it's turning now. And to keep from crying, you doing what you do now. You laugh.
Oh, no.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, stay with me. Because I ain't picking on you. I'm going to somebody else in a minute. Now, let me ask you this. After you left out of here last night, this morning, are you starting to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. See, how many of y'all come in here and y'all can't differentiate the true from the false? Now, I want you to listen to what he's fixing to read. Go.
To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one.
Now, last count, I was told there's about 10 billion people on the face of this earth. Give or take a billion. Billion, not million, billion. Now, out of 7 to 10 billion people, you are the only one who thinks what you're doing is normal. You're the only one who thinks that. Now, if I had a million people lined up, not a billion, a million, and every one of them come by you and they say, hey, girl, you got a tail. Hey, girl, you got a tail. After about 500 of them told you you got a tail, would you go? Yeah. How many of y'all people been telling y'all, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you go, nothing. What are you doing? Because you can't differentiate the true from the false. Now, I want you to check this out. How many of y'all, when y'all come in here, you start to gain a little semblance of the truth? and you start to see shit. You leave out of here and you keep going doing what you want, and that truth starts to evaporate. Who can tell me what that is? Huh? That's this pushing the truth back out again. You know, I run up on people all the time and I'll go, hey, you know, I've been around you a while. They might be getting a little irritable, restless, and discontented, and they go, take your own inventory. And I go, whoa, okay, all right. And about 6 months later, I hear they went back out. And I get a chance to talk to them, and again, they go, why you didn't say something? And I went, like I tried. See, when this thing starts coming back in, it don't tell you right off Jump Street, go use. That old shit starts to come back. That old behavior. See? And when it really starts to come back, that's when it goes. Cha-ching. Gotcha. Gotcha. Keep reading.
They're restless, irritable, and discontented unless they can again experience the sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. Drinks which they see others taking with impunity.
Now, how many of y'all see other people, these normal people who don't have this? They use it. They drinking a few. They might snort some powder on the weekend or something when they go out. But they just sort of dibble and dabble because they don't have. And after they spent like $50 one weekend, they go, shit, I ain't doing that no more because they don't have. Now, how many of y'all look at somebody like that and you go, well, you know, look, if I go to treatment, I go to meetings for about 6 months, I get my shit back together, I can do like they do. See, I'm telling you, how many of y'all have ever tried to prove you were normal? That in itself proves you ain't. Because guess what normal people never have to try to prove? They're normal. Now, I had a roommate. We were friends for a long time. He didn't have this. He was one of those normal people. On Fridays, we would get home, about 5 or 6 of us. We were real good friends. We'd all pitch in. We'd go buy a big ass old cookie about like that, like that thick. And we'd start playing cards and start drinking. And about 11 o'clock, he would go, I'm going to bed. I go, what? Yeah, I'm going to bed. I said, why? I got to go to work tomorrow. I said, why? Now, he didn't have this. So guess what he could do? A couple. Now, he would go to bed. About 5 that morning, he's going out the door to go to work. I'm coming in from another run. I go, where are you going? To work? Why? See, I would look at him, normal people, and I would go, what is wrong with him? We laugh at that shit, but how many of y'all do that? I would tell him, I'd go, bro, you a lightweight, dude. You can't handle your booze. Actually, he was the one who was actually handling his booze. You know who wasn't? I. See, how many of us, we look at normal people like they abnormal. And guess how they look at us? You did what? Now, how many of y'all have been running around with some other screwed up, abnormal people just like you? So abnormal, after a bunch of years, has become normal to you. And what's normal has become abnormal. That's why we look at normal people and go, what's wrong with you? See, I wouldn't run around with normal people because they didn't have nothing I wanted. I want y'all to turn y'all's big book to page 37. Now, they got a story in here. It's called The Jaywalker. Now, I can remember the very first time I'm sitting in treatment, and they had me study this story. And I'm thinking to myself, page 37, the last paragraph. Now, look up here. They said, we want you to read the story of the jaywalker, and we want you to write 2 pages on it. I said, for what? What the hell does a jaywalker have to do with me smoking crack? They said, everything. Now, how many of y'all know what how many of y'all do not know what a jaywalker is? A jaywalker runs in front of fast-moving vehicles. And they get a thrill out of that. Now, how many of y'all would look at, if somebody went, hey, fucking watch this shit. And they had an 18-wheeler coming, and it was like from here to there to them, and they went, boom, and it took off. How many of y'all would go, what in the fuck is wrong with him? We laugh at that shit. Guess what normal people look at us and say? What in the hell is wrong with him?
I have a friend that actually does that.
I bet you do. All right, back in the book. All right, here we go. Page 37 says, our behavior is as absurd and incomprehensible with respect to the first hit as that of an individual with a passion. Passion means obsession. Different words that mean exactly the same damn thing. With a passion, say for jaywalking, he gets a thrill out of skipping in front of fast-moving vehicles. Now, how many of y'all, as screwed up as y'all are, would look at that and go, what in the hell is wrong with him? All right, back in the book. Says he gets a thrill out of skipping in front of fast-moving vehicles. Every time you stick a needle in your arm, a pipe in your mouth, a pill, take a drink, it's like you're moving in front of a fast-moving vehicle. He enjoys himself for a few years in spite of friendly warnings. How many of y'all, the first couple of years, you didn't suffer too much? And people would say, hey, you better watch that shit and get a hold to your yang, and you ain't coming back. And you go, oh, not me. Oh, not me. How many of y'all people have given you some friendly warnings? Okay. Up to this point, you would label him as a foolish chap having queer ideas of fun. Luck then deserts him, and he's slightly injured several times in succession. See, how many of y'all, when the consequences start, it's like they come in fucking waves. And several times in succession, you get hurt. Now, what would you expect a jaywalker to do? If the 7 times in a row that somebody's got hit by a car, all together, right? Guess what people expect of you? All to, yeah. You would expect him, if he were normal, to cut it out, which you're not. Presently, he's hit again. This time, he has a fractured skull. Within a week after leaving Woodlake, a fast-moving trolley car breaks his arm. He tells you he has decided to stop jaywalking for good. But in a few weeks, he breaks both legs. Now, how many of y'all are reading this with me going, that's fucked up? Guess what people who care about you are saying about you? Man, that's screwed up what you doing. And they try to talk to you and tell you something, and this is what you do. Or just laugh it off. How many of y'all, every time somebody tries to tell you something, you either get mad as hell or you just laugh it off? On through the years, this conduct continues, accompanied by her continual promises to be careful or keep off the streets altogether. Finally, he can no longer work. How many of y'all, this has been affecting your livelihood off and on for a long time? It says, finally, he can no longer work. Her husband gets a divorce, and he is held up to public ridicule. How many of y'all people been talking about y'all? Yeah. You know what they did? And every time you hear that shit, you get mad at them, but it's absolutely true. They ain't talking about me. Well, fuck yeah, they are. She tries every known means to get the jaywalking idea out of her head. She shuts herself up at Woodlake, hoping to mend her ways. But the day she comes out, she races in front of a fire engine which breaks her back. Such a woman would be crazy, wouldn't she? Now, how many of y'all, if that person right there came up to you and go, hey, you want to hang out? How many of y'all would go, oh, no. No. How many of y'all are running people off or attracting them? Oh, yeah. Because guess what? When they see you coming, what they do? They flee. They flee. And when they do, how many of y'all get mad at them? They didn't care about me. Oh, they cared about you. They didn't want to see you destroy yourself, and that's why they got away from you. Now, how many of y'all are sitting in here and this is you? It says you may think our illustration is too ridiculous. How many of y'all are going, yeah, that's fucking bullshit. Man, god damn, I don't know why we're reading this. But is it? We who have been through the ringer have to admit if we substituted alcoholism for jaywalking, the illustration would fit us exactly. However intelligent we may have been in other respects, where alcohol has been involved, we have been strangely insane. It's strong language, but isn't it true? Some of you are thinking, yeah, what you tell us is true, but it doesn't fully apply. We admit we have some of these symptoms. Well, we have not gone to the extreme you fellas did, nor are we likely to, for we understand ourselves so well after what you have told us, such things cannot happen again. We have not lost everything in life through smoking crack, and we certainly do not intend to. Now, this is what we tell all you justifying, rationalizing ass people. This is what we tell you. Look, thanks for the fucking information. That's what we tell you. See, because what we know is you were like a little boy whistling in the dark. Keep up with your spirit. And inwardly, you would give anything. Take a half a dozen hits and get away with them. And that book says people like that will presently try the old game again. Because guess what's still planted firmly between their ears? The obsession. Now, before we get out of here today, because I know y'all all got a pee and smoke cigarettes and all that shit. Before we get out of here today, look up here. Need your attention for about 5, maybe 30 more minutes. Cravings are physical. Obsession are mental. And you've got to understand the difference. How many of y'all hadn't had anything for 4 days, a week, 2 weeks, and you say, man, I sure am craving a drink? That's impossible. What you're doing is obsessing about it. You can't crave it unless you put it in the system. Once you put it in the system, it's not an obsession anymore. It's now a craving. Cravings are physical. Obsessions are mental. Last thing, I promise you. They have little signs up in y'all's rooms in the bathroom that says, do not. Yeah, it doesn't say flush all you fucking want. It says do not, because every time you do that, what's going to happen is your toilets are going to get stopped up. See? And we ain't won't want to hear it if yours gets stopped up. So don't do that. Look, watch it. Do not do that. Well, it's going to be bad for you if I find out. All right, comments. You staying? Yeah. Shit, you're in a good place, ain't you? Huh?
Yeah,
I knew you was gonna change your mind.
I wasn't gonna.
You wasn't. Good. You staying? Huh? I want you to tell me the truth. I don't want you to tell me what you think I want to hear.
I'm not saying.
No, not that.
About what?
I'm fixing to ask you. You gonna get us a shot? Okay. Y'all get ready for lunch. Hold on a minute. Y'all sit back down. Out first. Hey, do not do that.
Hey, can I ask?
No, I want y'all to head out and I'll come get you in a minute.
I'm dropping every fucking thing.
Do that.
Look.
Do that.